All right, you welcome back. Of course, it's still TVC Breakfast here, and the show is about to get even hotter. Well,
Yes,
the struggle for the seat of the Senate presidency is getting fiercer by the moment as the power play among senators thickens.
Yes, indeed. And since Senate President Bukola Saraki defected from the All Progressives Congress to the People's Democratic Party, the media has been awash with stories of plots by APC senators to impeach him. First, the national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshomole, called on Saraki to step down as Senate President, stating that it was the honorable thing to do. And on Monday, acting President Yemi Osinbajo met behind closed doors with Senate leader Ahmed Lawan at the presidential villa.
All right, the meeting came at a time some APC senators are insisting that Saraki should vacate his seat. There are unconfirmed reports at the moment that the APC plans to upstage Saraki and his deputy Ike Ekweremadu and install Ahmed Lawan as Senate President. Well, let's now bring in public affairs analyst and, of course, a lawyer, Ahmed Abbas, here in the studio with us. Thank you very much indeed for coming. And we still have Ayodele Adio, editor, Gloom Television, here in the studios. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. As I said earlier, the show is about to get even hotter. Well, Abbas, you are the legal mind here. You tell us, is Saraki in order to stay on his seat as a Senate President?
Thank you. Section 50 of the 1999 Constitution stipulates how a Senate President office becomes vacant.
Yeah.
That's Section 50, subsection 2A to C, stipulates three circumstances under which the Senate President vacates office. One, if he ceases to be a member of the Senate. Number two, at the first sitting after dissolution of the previous House. That is, normally the tenure of a Senate is for 4 years.
Yes.
Once that tenure lapses, when the Senate reconvenes for another session,
yes,
his tenure automatically lapses, because on that day the Senate is expected to elect a new leader. The third one is if by a resolution of the House, two-thirds majority votes to terminate his presidency, he automatically vacates office. That's the three circumstances under which the Senate President must vacate his office under the law.
Yes.
Stephanie.
And that's it. Okay. So that is what the law says.
That's what the law. That is what the law says. That is what the Constitution says concerning vacation of office of the Senate President.
All right. So Ayodele Adio, now that the chairman of the APC, Adams Oshomole, has said it is the honorable thing for Senate President Bukola Saraki to do to relinquish his seat as Senate President, is it the honorable thing to do?
Yeah, I mean, clearly, Saraki has the law on his side, like the learned mind just said.
Yes.
The question now is the moral case. Unfortunately, the APC does not have a moral argument here because a few years ago, just in recent memory, they also benefited, from Aminu Tambuwal, who switched camps from the PDP to the APC.
As Speaker of the House.
I mean, and they took out the Vuvuzelas to defend the defection at that point in time, and it was okay at that point. And some of us at that time cried wolf. That do not defend what could haunt you tomorrow, and they did that. And so today you are crying and you expect me to to join your pity party, for something that you welcomed a few years ago. So it's a case of morality. I do not think the Senate president will resign. I don't think he should resign. But if they can get the numbers, you know, the two-third majority, fine. If they can do that, lobby their way through, you know, and get the two-third majority, so be it. Aside that, I mean, he should just keep crying wolf.
Well, here comes the, you know, question on the desk at the moment. He talked about the Senate, beg your pardon, the chairman of APC talked about honor.
Yes.
Do Nigerian politicians have honor in the way that they behave?
It was Mahatma Gandhi who, in enumerating what he termed the 7 deadly social sins of any society, part of, you know, he said science without humanity, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, religion without sacrifice. He spoke about politics without principles. When you have a nation where politicians practice politics without principles, you are bound to have this anomaly. We spoke about the law. There are unwritten principles guiding democratic practice. I have never seen in any part of the world where a party that has majority in the National Assembly will be presided by officers who are anti and against their party, who are always willing and eager to shoot down any policy, any appointment, any program, any bill sponsored by their own party. It's about morality. It's about principle. I don't know how.
Is it just about morality and principle, or the fact that the APC was not able to get past the way the Senate president emerged in the first place?
Yes.
They were not able to, if I can quote, you know, Saraki himself, well, who said that, you know, time has shown that the PDP has learned from its mistakes than the APC has learned from its victory.
Yeah.
There were issues around Bukola Saraki's emergence as Senate president, yet the party was not able to get past it.
I think that has been the Achilles heel, you know, from the onset of this administration. But the truth is, before the so-called marriage, you know, that birthed the APC, and the fact that these big governors who carried, you know, some political weight switched camps to the APC, they came in with certain demands. And I did not think that anybody, you know, in the new APC would have pretended that they didn't know that Bukola Saraki had huge ambitions going to the APC, because politicians always pursue self-interest anywhere in the world in the first place.
Yeah.
Now, the Senate convened. There was an election on the floor of the House, and Bukola Saraki won, right? And fortunately for them at that time, he was in the APC. And you see, we can look at it left, right, and center. But the real problem where this has lingered was because at that particular point in time, the president separated himself from the party. I mean, we can pretend like we don't know what really happened, but at that time, the president left the party to sort out his issues on his own, and really did not lead the party as you would expect.
Was he not right in doing that, you know, in order to face governance?
You don't do that in
if he had
politics.
been, you know, involved in all of the party politics and all of that, the same Nigerians would have criticized him of not facing governance,
he knows that
for not facing governance and playing politics.
He will know that I need my bills passed through everything I want has to go through the National Assembly. So it means that I have to be well involved in the person who emerges as the
Isn't
leadership.
that why he has a liaison in the person of Itaenang, for example?
No, Itaenang came later after the appointments.
You can't, you see, the box will always start and stop at the table of the president. For 4 years, Nigerians are going to hold you accountable for whatever happens. They expect you to implement policies, formulate policies, implement policies, pass bills. You must be interested in who presides over the National Assembly.
Yes.
There's no party, no president will fold his arms and say anybody can emerge. If you do not belong to the same ideological school of thought with the person that is going to preside over the National Assembly, he can make a mockery and a mess of your entire 4 years. And that's exactly what has been happening. The president has sent several bills from the same party. The president sat down to say, Magu, I find in Magu a man that is able to run the office of the EFCC. And members of your party, the Senate president, you even having majority in the party. It's an insult on the office of the president and the party. Because you came with an agenda that you sold to the nation. I will fight corruption. I will fight insecurity. And I will restructure the economy. They went in search of somebody that could be the arrowhead of one of the agenda, sent him to the National Assembly that the party has control over.
Yeah.
And constantly, members of that party rejected the nomination of the president. It simply shows you that the party is
a house divided against itself.
It's a house divided against itself. It was an error from beginning, from the inception. It was an error. You do not leave headship of the National Assembly to just any person.
And you remember the president in the wake of the emergence of Saraki, the president, when people were a bit worried about the way that he emerged as a Senate president, and the president said, look, I can work with anybody.
It was a mistake.
It was, I mean, consequences are clear now.
It was a mistake. The president was trying to be politically correct. He was,
But
I think,
he missed it.
Yeah. I'm sorry to say he, coming from the background of accusation that he's not a Democrat, he's dictatorial, he's a military dictator, I think he was trying to give a semblance of, I will allow people to run their affairs, I won't interfere. It doesn't work that way in politics. You must be interested in principal members of the National Assembly because they are key to your success. You want people that you can call 12 o'clock in the midnight and say, I'm sending a bill in the interest of Nigerians, and I want you people to sit, preside over the House and pass this bill as soon as possible so that we can move forward.
And they cooperate.
They cooperate, yes. They work 24 hours to make sure they pass the bill because you are seeing things from the same point of view. You belong to the same ideological. If you have someone that is totally at variance with your ideology, if you are a pro, I mean, you are an anti-corruption. I mean, you are for against corruption, and you have somebody presiding who is for corruption, and you send, a bill for purpose of curbing corruption and all the rest of it. What do you think the man is going to do?
But then again,
the 006 order that they have been fighting against.
If we say that, yes, that really should be the ideal situation. Now imagine a situation where the executive were pro-corruption, and then you have the head of a National Assembly who is also pro-corruption. Would we be arguing for this cooperation that we're talking about? Or is this not where the institution, the laws, the constitutional provisions should really come in to define each person's role, whether they belong to in the same boat or not, so that we can have good governance at the end of the day? Because you can have cooperation that is not necessarily in the interest of the Nigerian people.
First of all, there is the basic assumption, that whatever politicking that you're going to do has to be within the ambits of the law. Whatever proposals the executive has is believed that is within the ambits of the law. So it does not really matter who emerges. Now the fact that you lobby for a Senate president, to emerge, or a speaker to emerge, does not necessarily mean that they are going to be loyal to you personally. They still swore an oath to the Constitution of Nigeria. So whenever you do anything that violates the Constitution of Nigeria, they have to move against you. The idea, actually, that you have to work with people who believe in your ideological school of thought is so that your bills can move faster in the House. For instance, you can't believe as an executive in bigger taxes for corporates and have the person as the Senate president emerges who does not believe that taxes should go to the corporate world.
Yeah.
So that's an ideological clash. So you're going to have serious problems. So the idea is you want people with the same school of thought with you, within the ambits of the law, to push that. And that's why we've always cried, to the heavens, that institutions have to work. Because when these institutions work, you are not afraid that the Senate President or the Speaker is going to work against the Constitution of the country. You know that he's loyal to the Constitution and not to a person at the end of the day. But unfortunately, what we continue to see is men who are loyal to people and not the institution that they represent. And until we fix that problem, Africa, Nigeria more so, will not make any progress forward. I mean, for instance, Lord John Bates tendered his resignation because he came late to debate in the House. He said, I was ashamed of myself that I was not on the floor at a particular point in time. What that has done is to raise the bar for anybody who comes to that House to represent that constituency. That it is a taboo for me to come late to the House. We need men that will set the right precedents in this country, that will show leadership from the front, that will say, I cannot do this because it's not under the Constitution of this country, so that the next man coming in has to be subject to that Constitution.
All right, Abbas, very, very quickly, as I like to say ad nauseum, I make reference to what PLO Professor Lumumba said of a community, that there's a community in East where it used to be said that they never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. The APC apparently missed the opportunity ab initio to be on the right track, didn't they?
Absolutely. From inception, if you're a student of what transpired, it was an error. And the error is turned out to be very costly. And when the chairman of the, no, not the chairman, Information Minister, Lai Mohammed, says this is just a storm in a teacup and questions whether these people really have electoral value anyway, it begs the question. Who? Whether these people have electoral value? Yeah, these defectors. They should remember that it wasn't just, APC came into existence because of alliances. Of CPC and all the rest of them. People from APGA and people from PDP. So they could not have won that election without the alliance. That's the honest. Well, let's leave it then. Ahmed Abbas is a lawyer. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you. And Ayodele Adio, managing editor, Gloom TV. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Thank you for having us.